Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the crypto art. What are NFTs and why are they worth millions class? In this class, we're going to be talking a little bit about what is non-fungible tokens. We're going to create 1,000 non-fungible tokens using an online free app. We're going to understand how NFTs are worth millions of dollars, or at least the economics behind it. And we're going to apply a methodology to contextualize technology for an investment or business goal. So we're going to try to go through these today. This is the first time I'm running through this information. So this is going to be a little bit bumpy in terms of like how we're going to go about doing it, but hopefully you'll enjoy the content. And I'm going to put it into practice. So let's go ahead and let us jump in. I'm going to put in my timer here just to make sure I am looking good on time. So we're going to try to keep it to about under an hour. So we'll see how this works. Okay, so first things first, the content is for education purposes only. So none of the content in this presentation is considered financial advice. And any advisement should be consulted first by a professional advisor. So NFTs or non-fungible tokens, cryptocurrency, they're arguably new to market, high risk and quickly changing and evolving. So at the time of this recording, which is in January of 2022, it could change all 2-3 weeks or even a year from now. So take that into consideration when you're doing any type of investments, to do your homework, okay? When we did the survey on cryptocurrency, a few people said things about what interests them. Some of the things that you said that interests you was that about cryptocurrency or NFTs and cryptocurrency was that you were interested in the price and how much people are paying for simply pixels on the screen. You were interested in knowing how much money can be made from something that kind of doesn't exist. You were interested in knowing that with the rise of Web3, crypto, blockchains, and so many interrelated infrastructures, you're curious to know the role that NFT plays or will play in the future in terms of its economical impact and practicality. Some of you also said, I'm not familiar with any of this. I'm really interested in knowing the money and what makes it for what it is, and just understanding why it costs so much and the amount of money that's into it. So this content is this class is just going to try to cover some of the things that I believe or my opinion is regarding cryptocurrency and what's the psychology and what's the inner workings. It's going to be a really interesting mix of technology, how it works, what it does, and one theory as to why people are investing and what they're going, why they are going about doing what they're doing, which is buying so much for, like one person said, a digital image. Okay. When you said what kind of projects you like to create, you guys said that you wanted to experiment with the art. You wanted a trading bot that profits from the micro fluctuations of Bitcoins, which is a really specific request of projects. We won't cover trading bots because this is meant for people that don't know anything about cryptocurrency or NFT or NFTs. So sorry, we're not going to cover the trading bots, but we can look into it for a future class. We want to know how NFTs are integrated into the blockchain and impact on financial systems, AI satellites, those animals with cool designs. I'm open to anything. I don't know what I want to create. So a lot of heavy coding, a lot of just creating the art. We won't get into the coding aspects, but we will get into like a potential way for the computer to automate multiple pieces of art that can be created. What brings you to the class? For those of us that are physically in the class, you said things like, you want to learn about crypto. You don't want to learn about how they work, how NFTs work. You want to learn something about the future. If this is something you need to know for your future, you want to learn about money. You want to learn what it is. You're curious. Some of you guys are just here because you were placed in here. I didn't really pick the class, but I'm glad I ended up here. and you have some cryptocurrencies and decentralization of money questions or ideas about it that you want to hold and you find fascinating. So the decentralization of money is something that fascinates you, according to one person. So, and you want to learn what NFTs are early so you can make money off of it. When we asked respondents, do you own an NFT? Almost 90% said no. And we're going to just jump in and talk a little bit about my investments. Okay. So I have NFT, or I'm about to create an NFT project. It's really a baby version of that. But in terms of just crypto in general, I'll just share, briefly what are things that I use in case you're curious. Okay, really quickly. First off, when it comes to just apps, I like to use. There's so many crypto apps that manage cryptocurrency. It's not even related to NFTs, but you could look at apps specifically for crypto. If you want to trade coins and things of that sort, then the one app that I like out of so many is Voyager. Voyager is just a really nicely designed app. I'm a graphic artist. I like things that are clear cut to the point, beautifully designed, well imaged. And so I think that Voyager kind of captures all that. We have graphs, it gives me the essential information, gives me prices, gives me asking prices, I can quickly see, the essentials, right? What's this coin? What's this cost? Did it go up? Did it go down? How long ago did it go up and go down? How has it fluctuated between an hour, a day, or a week, a month, or a year? And what's my currency rate from Bitcoin or Ether, or whatever your coin of choice is, to US dollars. So I like that for that very specific reason. When it comes to coins that I like, I pretty much like the safe bets, or the long, or the quote unquote long-standing coins that are likely going to grow in the future, even though as of January 2022 the market's down when it comes to coins in general. But I think in the long haul, at the long run, it should balance out. So coins like XRP, Cardano, Solana, I like these coins because of their utility. I know Dogecoin doesn't have much utility, but I like the potential that it might have and the press that it's getting. Obviously, if you don't know, Elon Musk, a year or two ago, was talking a lot about Dogecoin, and my hope would be that one day his team, or his group of coders, will take Dogecoin and make it into utility better than a Bitcoin, which theoretically will probably be lower energy consumption, or at least that's the assumption made on his tweets, from a year ago. Like, hey, Bitcoin. For those that don't know, Elon Musk basically said, the billionaire Elon Musk said that, hey, if I was going to look at this whole Bitcoin thing, basically Bitcoin uses too much energy. It's not good for the environment. I'm an energy guy. I'm all about sustainability. So therefore, we must transition over to coins that use less energy because it's good for the planet. That kind of aligns to his mission with Tesla and Solar City and things of that sort. The guy is all about 10x improvement when it comes to technology and engineering projects. So you never know. He has publicly mentioned things that's, the most least likely thing is often the one that wins when it comes to just anything. The funniest thing is always the one that seems to rule the market. And so he's sort of making a slight signal to the world that he may potentially take a Dogecoin, create a utility, make it better than a Bitcoin, and then basically align it to a economy for his entire multi-billion-dollar network, or create a coin that's going to go to Mars or be both Earth and Mars connected. Who knows? This is all super speculation. I could be completely wrong, but it does seem to make sense that if I'm going to build a planet or going to go to Mars, and the goal is for a long sustainable society that is, quote, better than Earth, then you would probably look at all the financial systems of the last, humanity's use and make an upgrade, and perhaps that will be digital, and perhaps that's going to be sustainable, and perhaps it's going to be ridiculously funny. And he's going to prove that concept with this project. So we're going to see where it goes. So that's why I like Doge. So it might not do anything. It might, and I could be completely wrong, and it might not even go anywhere. But wouldn't it be interesting if it did? And so, like I said, what makes a good coin, in my opinion, utility, which is basically how it works effectively. What does it do for the internet, for people using this coin? Energy efficiency is another good one. If it's efficient on its power usage, then you want to make sure that it's good for the environment. I like that too. We don't want to use power in unlikely places if we're all about sustainability or transitioning to a sustainable world. And what makes a good coin is its developers. At the end of the day, these are real people working on real projects. So if they're really passionate about it and not trying to make a quick buck, then that's a good sign, and a little bit of luck will take you far. I also like OpenSea.io when it comes to not coin related, but more NFT stuff or more NFT related things. I like OpenSea.io, like most people do, to discover, collect, and sell extraordinary NFTs, and it's really cool. There is a degree of like art. I kind of see it as kind of like a combination of like a bank and an art gallery. So I like seeing the art more so these days, and not so much the sale or the purchase of it. So it's kind of like a fancy art gallery to some degree. But that's my opinion. Again, how to think about tech for a financial investment. Now we're going to transition into that. What is it about financial investments that I look at, or how do I think about it? But really, before I answer that question, the real question that, or the greater question that most people, young people have when it comes to NFTs is that, is this hype or is this an opportunity? Okay, so let's just talk about that. Like, is this nothing or something? I would say first that when it comes to any technology, look at its cycle, or the hype cycle, or the Gartner hype cycle. Okay. My map to make sense of technology generally is using this framework or this method. It's a really great method. And basically the way it kind of works is that there's a research company called Gartner Research, and they basically sort of made a discovery that most new technologies follow a S curve, and this S curve, when you look at all the signals and the press releases and it's social media and news reports from the press, when you look at all these like signals from the web, the conversations kind of follows a certain order or certain pattern, and we like patterns, or I like patterns, to make sense out of like tons of information. Basically, to interpret any type of technology, or the way I like to interpret technology, is that I like the Gartner hype cycle model or method, because they actually look at positive hype, like what is happening, where's the peak of that, when does it turn into negative hype, and then when does it actually level out into something. So this image on the right is like super general, but essentially it does three things. One, it separates the hype from the real drivers of the technology's promise, right? What's real, what is hype, and what is like, oh, it could do this, it could do that, versus like, oh no, this is what it actually is promising to do. Not the potential, right? I want to know what it's currently doing. It reduces the risk of your technology investment decisions. So that's a great thing to have when you are looking into this. And it compares, or helps you compare your understanding of what the technology's like true business value is, like what it really does, with the objectivity of an experienced IT analyst. So they actually look and talk to information technology experts, and they say, hey guys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, we're looking at this. What do we think of the press and what's being told globally versus what we actually know specifically from the developers and the creators of the technology and its history? Like, let's actually think critically about this and put it into play. So when you look at the bottom of the graphic there, there's like 5 stages. One is a technology trigger, a peak of inflated expectation, trough of disillusionment, slope of alignment, and plateau of productivity. What does that mean? Well, it basically means, when a technology launches or starts, it normally is positively received, right? Oh, this is this technology is so great, it can do this, it could potentially do that. And then eventually it goes into this level where it's like so inflated the expectations and very hopeful and kind of unrealistically positive and sometimes unrealistically negative, mostly positive, that people are going to invest based off that news and not look at the science behind it. And then when you get to the top, it turns into like, don't join in because it's just in. So be careful. After that, then people say, well, this is not reality. This is not going to work very well. So this is negative. So this is not really what it's promising to be. This is all bad. This is not going to work. It's not going to end up being. And that stage is called the trough of disillusionment. And so most people forget, and it's out of the public eye during that red negative hype stage. But what we don't realize is that the slope of enlightenment and the plateau of productivity, that's actually when the real opportunities and the real drivers and the real business companies, the real winners, that's when they show up. So if we look at something like social media and you go back, 20 years, oh, social media is going to connect the world, it's going to do great things. And now we're realizing that there's terrible things about it and it's not working very well and it's actually damaging to people. But eventually it's going to turn into, oh, well, you know what, this is what this technology really does serve, is that it's actually getting information out quickly to people, but we're having a problem with the quality of the information and whether it's good or not good. So that's really at its heart what the promise is. It's connecting information, but we're not managing it in really good ways. And so that's the sort of the trough of disillusionment, and then the slope of enlightenment is just basically what I said, like, oh, realizing that we can distribute information fast through these networks that are easy to use. So where's the productivity and where's that going to go, right? So that's just one example. And you can have many different examples of this. Oh, excuse me. But we're going to look at those examples when it comes to NFTs. So looking at that model, right, we're going to ask the question. And we'll answer this at the end of class, but the question is always, people always just like, how is this image, or any image, but this one in particular from this NFT from the Bored Ape Yacht Club, how is this worth $2.7 million? Like, how is this even a thing? How is that even possible? Again, there might be some type of element happening here in the hype cycle, and we just have to figure out where we are in the hype cycle, okay? The first question you want to ask is, what is the core technology, okay? What is the core technology of this, and to break that, and how does that really work? So in the interest of saving time for the video, take a look at this link, because this video will definitely showcase it for you. So let me reset that. This video is about 6 minutes long. So definitely take a look at it and watch it, but it's going to help you get to understanding of what is the blockchain. And that's actually the most important thing. You want to ask, the first question is like, what is the core technology that is at play with this tool? And the answer is like, look at the core technology. And the core technology of the NFT at the end of the day is blockchain. What is the blockchain? So make sure to check out this video. It's going to help you in your understanding. Okay, now assuming that we've watched the video and we understand it, and we kind of understand that blockchain is all about trusting the data, that this is the first time we can actually authorize transactions using a digital ledger between two parties without a third party, without a bank, without a company to manage that, without a financial investment firm, then you're now trusting the data over the company or the institution. And that saves you on cost and fees, arguably, because sometimes the fees are the same or less, depending. But it's faster, it's effective, and it's verified by the data and the network versus two people, two parties. Okay, that's good, right? That's arguably a good thing. So when we look at the technology of blockchain, let's put the Gartner hype cycle over it and see where the NFT is in accordance to that, okay? All right. So for example, if we're looking at this, then we're gonna definitely take a look at where you are in relation to the cycle and how that's gonna play out for you. So if this is the cycle and how it works, then essentially, again, let's separate the hype, right? If NFT is somewhere on this chart, according to the company Gartner of July 2021, they actually believe that NFT is at the top of the S curve. So if you look at this particular image over here, they're actually at the top of the S curve there. And if they're at the top of the S curve, then they believe that we're at the top of the hype or the peak of inflated expectations when it comes to blockchain, okay? Which coincidentally after that is this content of stable coins. So that's actually happening in the press. People are talking about what are the stable coins, you know, decentralized identity. We noticed in the survey that people are interested in decentralized identity and DeFi or decentralized finance. So that's interesting. Like we're actually right there. And for the next 2 to 5 years, because the color is blue and the white one is actually stable coins, which is expected under 2 years, looking at all this, we may be at the peak of inflated expectations or at the top of the hype. We are at the max hype. So is NFT hype? Arguably, it can be, okay? Can we reduce the risk? Well, knowing where we are in relation to the cycle, this stuff, if you're thinking about it, could very well be highly risky. So if you want to reduce the risk, then you'll know how much to invest, knowing that it's at the inflated cycle or the inflated peak of an expectation. So it's going to go down according to the trough of disillusionment. It's going to go down, okay? And the conversation will change from NFT to things like smart contracts and consensus mechanisms eventually. And then the slope of enlightenment should show up within about 5 years or so. So this is helpful, but does that mean it's not helpful? Like, so then if is it hype? You just said it was hype, Mr. A, okay. So it's not really an opportunity. I actually think it is an opportunity, okay? And here's why I think it might be an opportunity, okay? I think this is an opportunity to practice future digital money management, pure and simple. Because if you look at the cycle here in the back, right, on the right-hand side, the slope of enlightenment, the actual opportunity is in blockchain wallets, decentralized applications, cryptocurrencies. Okay, that's going to be a thing. At least the experts say it will be. And so if that's a thing, then we should make it a thing. That's the thing for today. So we're gonna ride the hype, but we're actually gonna bring some truth to it and say, okay, guys, I know you're excited, but this is really a class about digital money management, or at least a model for a future of digital money management, which includes wallets of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or coins, which includes the transfer of those coins from your mobile device and going from paper to a digital wallet to cold wallet and all that stuff. And this is like a good image because this pretty much is the future of where finance is going to go, essentially, from a large scale and even on a macro scale and a micro scale or tiny scale. Okay, so think of dollars as crypto coins, right? And think of NFTs as assets or valuables, things that you own. Okay, so you know your NFTs are like your famous works of art or your jewelry that's worth something that appreciates and goes down to value. That's how I'm looking at it. And cryptocurrencies are like digital dollars. And so that's kind of the basis and the framework of this class and how we're looking at NFTs and cryptocurrencies on the blockchain. Okay, so now that we've gotten the breakdown in like 15 minutes roughly of what this stuff does, now we're going to talk about what are non-fungible tokens and how do they create projects really fast. And so there's a second video I'd like you guys to watch. Okay, so please watch that video, but it's gonna go over what is a non-fungible token at the end of the day. Okay, and so that's helpful. You'll get the summary, but non-fungible tokens are basically digital assets that are interchangeable, operating on the blockchain. Okay, and that's about 10 minutes there. So now that we're down to that, okay, I'm at the 35-minute mark. So boom, that means I got about 20 minutes left. We're going to create an NFT project. Okay, I have 1,000 images. Now, this NFT project, which is a no-coded version, is really cool. It's really interesting. And basically what you can do is that if you do an NFT project, Most projects are like 100 pieces of art, 1,000 pieces of art, and in some projects up to 10,000, right? Now, when I was thinking about this project, I was like, cool, I want to do an NFT. Okay, I'll do one. But if I want to do a successful project, I noticed that they're like 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 because you're creating this sort of project and you want enough people to buy in on it so that you can increase your, your use of it and things of that sort. Okay, that's great. That's cool. We're going to do that. We're going to make 1,000. And there's a really wonderful website that was created by a single coder out there. So thank you to the person that created this site. It's called raremints.club. And there's a wonderful video that, again, is in the description below and links there. So make sure you check that out. But basically, he goes over how to create an NFT in about 5 minutes. Okay. I'll just kind of put some highlights here. But basically, the way it works, and it's really, really awesome, is that you take an editing program or graphic editing program, and you draw like your model. Okay. In this case, he drew a dinosaur. And he made that dinosaur 5 times in different colors in one group. Okay. And he made multiple things, but you could see the project of 10,000 images. So he first started off with a template, like a skeleton of all these different images of all these different characters. Okay, cool. The next thing he did, and again, you can use different graphic editors. And if you're in the class, we'll go over those editors. But I also linked it. You want to use a really cool pixel creating editing website. But I'm just going over the basics of it. The second thing that this operator did is that he created different classes and different elements that go over the grouping of the object. So there's different groups of different things. So he made a background. So he made the dinosaurs. He made backgrounds, which are separate to the body of the dinosaur. He made hats that go on top of the dinosaur, which notice it's like almost in the exact location in relation to the image. All the separate images. He made multiple things and all right, and different portions and different aspects of it. There's the bell there. Then he told his program, created a program. He said, okay, I'm going to make 100 of these images, and it's going to combine the different groups and different folders and make them into one. And look how fast it created 100 in like literally less than 10 seconds, like 5 seconds, right? And it sent a download. That's what's so great about these projects is that now, if you notice in the video, the computer, the program created 100 different images and 100 different variations and took all the accessories and the bits and pieces of the folders and combined them into one. That is amazing. Okay. Now, as an artist, artists know that this stuff would take minutes, if not hours, to make 100 different images, maybe 45 minutes at best if you really have your systems down and you're just using layers and exporting and doing things extremely, extremely fast. That is nothing in comparison to the 5 seconds it took this program to create it, which is exciting to think about. You can name your projects, you can do different things with that, but essentially that's kind of how it works. So when we're going to basically kind of run through the basics of that, but you can literally take this format, this system, and use not only pixel images, you can use any type of image as long as you know and you position the hat. Like, let's say you do the dinosaur, make sure the dinosaur is in the exact same position for all the images. And if you're going to create hats, make sure the hats are always at the top because that's where the location of the head is. It's almost kind of like all the computer is doing is taking all these images and all these layers and putting them one on top of each other in the location. So it's just pasting it for you and combining it and exporting it. So for those of us that are familiar with like Photoshop, there's like a feature in Photoshop where you kind of like can do a grouping of images and it kind of like exports them as JPEGs for you. I forget the name, but it's really popular where you can kind of do like a massive export where it kind of goes through the process. And even Mac computers do that, where you kind of create like the steps and it kind of outputs it for you. It's the exact same idea, but it's just doing it for an NFT or a graphic in its entirety. So if you have a cool idea or a similar process where it doesn't use code, but rather just combines those images in cool and interesting ways, or if you know another site that hey, put it in the description, put it in the chat below. We'd love to hear about these projects because at the end of the day, we're just trying to help artists and people create projects and get them out there and see if they're interesting for people to purchase. Okay, so it's an amazing tool, and we're going to get that out there. Okay, so when using this, okay, I always like to use this site. It's called Pixelartcom, where you can create and share pixel images. So we're going to take a few minutes to do that and create those images for you. And I'm going to switch over to this site. So I'm going to basically click onto it here. Okay, and going to open a new tab, and we're going to open up the site there. Okay, so pixel art, it's very cool, but generally the way that you want to set this up is that you want to sort of create an image. I created my little hat there, as you can see. So I'm going to go and let's go back to the home menu. And when you go back to pixelart.com, basically what's going to happen is that you can start drawing here in the middle where it says start drawing. Okay, this is a really awesome site to create pixel art. So it's really perfect for creating the art that you want to develop. We're going to start the drawing. Okay, and as we start the drawing, basically what we're going to do is create a new drawing. And when we create the new drawing, the settings that I always like to create for the drawing are roughly 500 pixels by about 512 pixels by about 512 pixels. So in this window, you'll notice a blank canvas open up. I'm going to enter 512 pixels here by 512 pixels here and go to new drawing. I'm going to click OK with that. There's going to be a lot of ads popping up, so I apologize in advance. And just for the sake of time, we're just going to do like a happy face, okay? You have your tools here on the right, okay? I'm going to use the layer panel, which is here on the right-hand side of my screen. If you notice here on the right, where it says layer, there's these options and tools here, or tabs, okay? The ones that we're going to use is actually the layer tab, okay? And also, there goes the bell again, and then the tool and the colors tab, okay? So we'll use these to kind of guide us. And I'm going to basically just kind of take and create a background, okay? So I'm going to go to my tools on the left here, and there's a series of tools here. And they're very similar to like a lighter form of like Illustrator or Photoshop. But I'm going to go to my tools here. I'm basically going to go to my tool, which is my creator there. And I'm going to select the square tool. Okay. And under square tool, I'm going to go up here on the upper right hand side and I'm going to select fill. Okay. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to select the fill tool, which is located right here. And there is your square tool that is located right there. Okay. So we're going to take those tools. We're going to put that in there. And I'm going to click on the fill tool so that my square is filled for that background. Okay. Which it is. So I got that. I placed it in there. I'm going to clear out my image. And right here on the right-hand side, there's a little tab. It's like a long vertical white tab. And I'm basically going to select a color or multiple colors. So, I'll go with red. Oh, and I'm just going to create a bunch of backgrounds. Okay. And I'm going to click, hold, create a background. And I'm going to then export that background under the file menu, export download, and this blue button in the center where it says export, we're going to send it out. Okay. And again, this is super, super simple, super crude, but I want to get the idea of this sort of like groups and exact positions of layers for the groups through our heads. I'm going to download the image, and on the lower left-hand side of my app, I notice it says pixel frame 01, which is your image. Okay. So what we're basically going to do is make like, 3 different backgrounds, or I recommend actually 5 different backgrounds because I was able to get to 1,000 with 5 backgrounds, 5 of everything mostly, to kind of get that out there. Okay. So 5 to 10 backgrounds, right? It could be solid colors. It could be a solid color with a cool little pattern. It could be a pattern. Like you could do backgrounds all day, right? So the more backgrounds, the easier it is to create these cool images, okay? So that's the first thing, okay? Then I'm gonna go, assuming that we create those layers just for the sake of time. We're gonna go to the layers, right? And under the layer menu, I'm going to select a new layer. And it's really interesting, but oh, excuse me. But the layers tab is up here. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Here's my layers tab. And blending mode. Oh, I'm already drawing an escape here. I'm looking for a plus sign that says new layer. And for whatever reason, it is eluding me. Maybe because I'm in tools already. But I want to go into layer. There's normal layer, filters, transform, fill the layer. Interesting. It's not showing me a layer. Add a frame. No, that's for GIFs. So we'll remove that, take out the add. Okay. Let's look for the background here. Normal layer, clipping mask, filters, transform, fill, outline, preview. Ah, here it is. Okay. So we're going to go to not layer, but the preview menu. And under preview, excuse me, you're going to see the little plus sign. And this little plus sign, it represents the add layer button. That's what we want. So I'm going to hit the plus sign. And you'll notice where it says the add layer there, you'll notice that there is a layer 1 block that's just been created. And we're going to basically take this layer 1 and put a little like happy face on it. So I'm going to take my circle here and I'm going to quickly draw a yellow face. You can draw any color of your choice, but I'm basically going to hold down my shift key and draw like a face in the center of that. Okay. And then I'm going to click onto my bucket tool, which is the letter B. It looks like a little paint bucket on the tools here on the left. So here's your bucket tool here. And I'm basically going to click the center of my image here once. And for whatever reason, bucket, circle, and set up there. Okay. So we should see that. Oh, okay. Well, it looks like I drew an additional circle there. So let's go back. I'm going to delete that layer. Ah, okay. That makes sense. Okay, so circle. We're going to draw a circle. We're going to do the paint bucket tool. I'm going to fill up the paint bucket tool there. Let's activate that layer. It's completely yellow. Awesome. We have a yellow circle. And for this layer here, that's our layer 1. And we got that set. Okay, so now we're going to export the circle because we want to separate them all. Okay. And I'm going to basically hit the little circle that is on the left and right hand side. So if you notice, there's like this little tiny circle that's that has a white outline with a black fill. And then there's a little tiny circle with all white. Those little buttons turn off and on the layer. And what I figured out that I like to do in this program is I like to shut off the background layer. And anytime I want to export an object on its own layer, I go to layer 1, click the little blue dot there to turn it on. And I shut off the background layer or any other layer behind that. And then I go File, Export, and I export that image. Okay. When I export those images, what happens is that you're going to basically see no background, just the white circle. And for the other image that I exported, I don't see a circle, I see just a red background. So you want everything to be separated. So I'm going to create like 3 different, happy faces in different colors. And I can literally go to the paint bucket tool and change each color by to each object one at a time. But every time I change, I'm going to always export that color. Okay, so, and again, the more you have, the greater the permutations, or the greater the combinations for the computer to combine to make more NFTs, or more images that go on the NFT system. So if you make like 5 or 10, great. The backgrounds, great. If you make 5 or 10 circles where you put your happy face, great. If you make 5 or 10, the more, the better, the greater the chances of a larger number. Okay. So now that I have that, then again, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna add a layer, and this layer is now gonna be like for my eyes, and I'm going to click onto that layer, okay? And it says layer 2. I'll leave it activated for just for the location. So layer 1 and layer 2 are clicked in on the right there. And I'm basically going to take layer 2 and I'm gonna make a really, really funky looking pair of shades for my character. So I'll take the square, and again, forgive me. All right, I'm gonna go black on this one by clicking on the color, detect an ad popping up, so we'll close that. But I'm gonna create a square, right? I'm gonna create another square, and maybe I'll go to my line tool and make like, the little glasses or the little frame for the glasses. My pixel size is really small, so on the upper left here, I'm gonna click onto it and make like the lens of the glasses, and put the little connector there. Again, really, really bad. Doesn't look amazing, doesn't look great, but that's the idea there, okay? And you're basically gonna create a new layer where you basically create a bunch of glasses or a bunch of eyes or a bunch of cool, looking graphics that look like eyes, but you get to select them, okay? But always, always remember to shut off all the layers and always export each image with a transparent background like you see here, so that you have 5 or 10 eyes, glasses, shades in one grouping, and then 5 or 10 backgrounds by themselves, 5 or 10 circles for the head by themselves. So at the end, it's gonna eventually like turn into something where it's like this background image where the computer combines them for you. We're just separating all the pieces. It's kind of like a sandwich if you think about it too. It's like if I make a sandwich, I'm gonna put all the bread in a stack. I'm gonna put all my my lettuce in a stack, all my tomatoes in a stack, and I'm gonna put all my condiments in a stack. Actually, you can't really do condiments, but bottles there. But you'll stack all the physical objects, and then you come in and you just put them together. Think of the computer, the program, this website, raremints.club, as like the sandwich maker that puts it all together. Your job is to basically make the bread into a stack, make the tomatoes into a stack, make the lettuce into a stack, and put that all together, if that makes sense. Okay. So we're going to do all that, get that going. Now, for the sake of time, you guys lucked out. I do have a little folder here, which has all the images for you. So just for the sake of time, right? Because I'm not going to create all the different folders. I essentially created a folder where I put all of the things together. So I made 3 hats. I made like 3 or 5 eyes, 5 backgrounds, 5 faces. So if you look at my folder here, you'll notice that the images, I have 4 groups, right? So 4 stacks of things for my sandwich, let's say. And here I have 3 images, okay? These images are 3 hats, right? Notice that it's like at the top because that's where the computer needs to stack it exactly. Computers are not smart enough to know this is a hat, so it goes on the top. You have to position it in the image towards the top because computers are not that intelligent. Well, they're intelligent, but this program is not AI driven. It's just an assembler, it just builds it for you. So I have that, okay? And it looks like a little like pirate hat. I made like 3 or 5 different eyes, actually 5 eyes. And notice that they're transparent backgrounds, so that I have these like really, really bad images. Again, this is just for the sake of conversation or sake of the proof of concept. Okay. And I made a few backgrounds, I think 5 or 10 backgrounds, and they're just solid colors that are built into it. Okay, cool. And I also made, I think like 5 faces. One of them I kept the smile on just for the sake of argument. So I made a bunch of circles there, okay? When I go to raremints .club, I'm gonna sign up for my account, or in this case, I'm going to, sign in. And I think .org, I think is an email. My apologies. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning at the time of recording this, so my brain is. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, let's create an account. Okay, so I'm just going to create an account, and I'll just put my username. I'm going to put, wait, what is this? My email. Sign up. And automatically it's going to show you like cool projects. Okay, I'm going to click onto your projects here on the upper right hand side. Okay, and under your projects, I'm going to create a new project. So I'm going to add new project here on the left. And on the left side, it's going to show you the untitled project. And there's like these 3 little dots here. Where it says untitled project on the upper left-hand side here on the left, I'm going to click on the 3 dots and go to project settings. I'll just call this my first project right now. Okay. And you can put your dimensions here and change it. It's kind of preset or defaulted to 512. And you can make it public and listed, but just for the sake of time, I just wanted to like prove that the concept works. So, okay, my test project. Okay, and I'm going to save it. And where it says group, I'm basically going to click group to create a new group. And this group is basically going to be my background group. So I'm going to make a group for the backgrounds because they need to be separated. Okay, and there's background. I'm going to click on the background, and it's going to say, hey, choose a layer to add some images. Or actually, excuse me, there's the layer. I guess group is like project too, so my apologies there. Okay. So I'm going to create that group, choose a layer to add some images. I'm going to select this layer, and I'll call that background again. I guess group is background. Interesting. It says group, background, so that's a little confusing. I might be reading it wrong, but that's okay. I'm just going to make my background layer into 1. We'll put everything under background, actually. So we'll just do that. Yeah, everything's like a different layer. Okay, so I'll just leave that as background. The idea is that where it says background, it says nothing here, drag or drop and click anywhere to upload those images. So you're going to download these images on your computer. Okay, I'm going to download the background on my computer here. So I'm going to right click and download it. It's going to prepare it, download it for my drive. Okay. And as I download it here, okay, we are going to open the folder. And when it opens a folder and I download each of these folders, I'm basically going to drag and drop those images into my folder, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take all those images click, hold the click, and it says drop file in here. I'm going to add those images. There it is. There's the backgrounds there. Okay. That's how you know. So I love drag and drop. So to the developer that created this, thank you so much. It's awesome that you did this. I'm going to do that for all the other ones, right? I'm going to download face. I'm going to create a group on the left and call that my face layer. Okay. Or at least let's create the other group. Excuse me. I'm going to make this the face group. Okay. Close that. I'm going to click onto my faces. We're going to drag and drop faces in there as well. Okay. Oh, select the layer, face. Okay. Choose a layer to add some images. Okay, there's the layer. I clicked onto it. I'm going to drop it in there, right? So close that little group. All right, I got the face. I got the background so far. Then I'm also going to do eyes and hat. So let's do that really fast. Eyes. Click onto the layer, eyes. Gonna take that. Open up the folder. Again, I'm assuming I downloaded it. If it's black, and just know that black background is gonna throw it off a little bit. Okay, and then we got that, and then I'm gonna do the hat group layer. So I'm gonna get the hat in there. Click onto layer. Excuse me, hat alphabetizes it for you. And I'm gonna click on type in hat again. Go to the hat layer, and it says nothing here. Drag and drop to upload those images. So let's go and drop the hat in there. Now that the hat is in there, I should have everything set. Okay, faces, hats. Oh. Hey, did the hat drop? Backgrounds, eyes. Oh, didn't drag and drop the hat. Okay, let's do it again. There it is. Okay. And so, all right, cool. So we got everything set, right? So I got a hat layer, I got a background layer, I got an eyes layer, I got a face layer. Okay. Now on the lower left-hand side, okay, I see a button here that says generate images. All right, let's do this. I'm going to click generate images. We're going to probably see an ad saying, hey, we're hiring. So if you're looking for some work and want to look for partners, beta tests, the deployment, check it out. Give them a go. Well, we want this is it says my test project. Okay. How many from group phase 1? Now I'm going to create, and on the upper right hand side, I'm just going to click on to 1,000. So here I'm going to go up, and where it says 10,000, I'm just going to say 1,000, right? Now, technically, you could do 10,000 in like 5 minutes if you have more elements and more groups and folders of different things. So the more, the merrier. But for this, for sure, I'm going to get to like 1,000. So I'm going to type in 1,000, and let's just like count to like 30 and see how long this takes it. There's a green button below that says generate. I'm going to hit that button. Let's give it a go. And let's count how long it takes the computer to do it. Oh, groups have to add to 1,000. What? All right. How many from group face? Okay, that's new. I believe there is 8. So type that in, 8. How many from hat is 3. How many in group of the background? That is 9. And eyes, I put in like 5 pieces of eyes. Okay, let's generate. And already we're facing some issues. Okay, what happened here? All right, let's go back to our search project and see what went wrong. Okay. Now, perhaps I made a mistake. So let's delete the project really quick. Let's fix that. And theoretically, it should go through and make it work. So untitled project. Let's go to project settings, test project. I might be doing this a little bit wrong. So test project. Oop. Save. Groups. Add a group to your collection with their own layers and rarities. All right. So I'll call this face. Test project again. I'm going to create a new layer. Let's do the layers first. Backgrounds. Another layer. I'm going to call that face. Create another layer. Call that eyes. Create another one called hat. Guess it doesn't like the word hat. Okay. Background. Let's try it again. Background 9. Okay. Go to face. Okay. It's interesting that there might be a little bit of a glitch. There's probably like a lot of traffic going on here, because if this is as exciting as I'm making it, it's probably a little bit of an overload happening here. Okay, let's do faces. Looks like we're experiencing some type of glitch. Let me try to refresh the page. There's the background. There's the faces. All right. Cool. All right. I get it. There's the faces. All right, cool. Okay, that sounds like there's a. So if you're having an issue, definitely try to refresh, guys. I'm gonna go to eyes. All right, the eyes are there. I'm gonna go to hat. Go hat. All right, there's the hat. Cool. Okay, eyes, backgrounds. There's that. All right, I'm gonna refresh. Chances are it's there. It's just not showing up. Yep, it's there. All right. I'm gonna select. I'm gonna generate images on the lower left there. Please give me 1,000. Type it in on the bottom. Collect, generate, and ladies and gentlemen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 seconds in, halfway through. I think you're getting what I'm trying to say here. Any other time, this would take forever. This would take 45 minutes, maybe even an hour plus for me to do this on my own. The computer is generating, combining, doing all these good things for me. This is pretty awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. And no coding experience required. That is the point. So when we do this, you have a folder, you have your project ready to go. All that is required is to upload this project onto OpenSea, OpenSea.io. which is your site. You'll notice on the lower left that it's done. 1,000 images in about a minute to a minute and 10 seconds. On the lower left-hand side, the folder has been downloaded. And basically, when I open it, it's going to open test project. I'm going to see under test project, if I share my screen here, so you can take a look at it, you'll basically notice that the images are right here under images. Okay, so right there, image folder, double click it. Wow, look at that. It's all there, guys. So everything is set. And those are my images. Okay, it's crude, but hey, it gets the point across. So everything is there. That is pretty awesome. Okay. And that is how you can make 1,000 projects in set. Okay, so final conclusions, since I am literally now out of time, we'll go back to the presentation here. What are some of the final conclusions that we have? Well, quite simply, when it comes to this NFT world and how it works and how everything kind of interrelates with one another, okay? Basically, what I'll say is that, and I'll share the video for later, okay? That a successful project is basically going to encompass these things. So how are NFTs worth millions? Here's the answer. A successful NFT project will always have good art. Think of that as, well, it will have good art. It will have artificial scarcity, supply and demand, 1,000 images only available or 10,000 available net, for a short period of time. The creator, you will have basic knowledge of economics or information technology in this case. You will have, most creators have a market to customer that buys into the project, so they know how to market and communicate it on Twitter or Instagram or a combination of to get their project out into the world so people know about it. And there's always an incentive or a buy-in, like you get something for the NFT when you purchase it. The reason for the image on the right is that it's basically a mini digital mixed economy. Market economies on the left there in blue, typically people will buy when it's a private property, there's a supply and demand with a price, and it's driven by self-interest. I want this. And then the command economy is when, like, the federal government, in this case, the website, OpenSea, will put markets, create the market, create the safeguard. And then manage the programs that go into it. You could even arguably say that the blockchain is the command economy, the greater internet blockchain system, and the market economy is OpenSea.io, which has NFTs or art, supply and demand prices. But it's a mixed economy. It's economics. This is economics, guys. It's digital. It's microeconomics. Digital microeconomics, right? It's decentralized economics. And so when you look at interesting projects, remember I said an incentive? Think about for these future projects, like something people get for the NFT. So VeeFriends, right? Gary Vayner's project, he's like, hey, every time you get an NFT, you're going to get an event ticket for a future event. Or Pudgy Penguins, right? Every time you buy an NFT, it connects you to the game or the world that it's in. So there's an incentive. Oh, I get a game? Yeah, you get a game, not just a picture. You get a picture, which is your avatar for the game. And then there's other projects that are kind of morphing now, where you buy a shoe or you buy an NFT and you get the sneaker with it, which commands higher prices. So, you know, most people don't want to buy a lot out of it, but it's interesting that now we're seeing like physical things tie into promotion. So an NFT is kind of like a thing, a collectible that you get with the shoe. So there's kind of like an element of pride or showing off when it comes to that. Really interesting psychological stuff. So the answer to the final question is, okay, Mr. A, thank you for this presentation. I love it. How is this worth $2 million? Here's the short answer. It might be that specific project, okay, the 8 project. That might be in its entirety, it could be something called a finance bubble. Remember, this is digital microeconomics, right? NFTs are new. That project, that monkey, was probably one of the very first projects to kind of promote NFT, the NFT world. So if you look at it from like, how is that worth millions? I think that that project was the first signal of the new paradigm that shot up to the top of the red line that you see there. The financial bubble basically says that there's a takeoff phase, there's a sell-off phase where there's a media attention, enthusiasm, right? And that project of monkeys is probably the mania phase. And because it was the first one to take off, people said, I want that because it's the first. It might be worth something because it's first in line. And so most people have a fear of missing out, FOMO. So they just said, I'm just going to buy it. And before you know it, the value shot up dramatically because people, even though they didn't understand it, they wanted to be the first to have it because they knew it's actually something greater of the blockchain. So it's basically that. It's psychology at the end of the day. Sometimes people just want in because it's popular, and other people want to jump in and they want to miss out. So I think that project, this project here, is probably the first signal of the hype, which proved that blockchain worked. So therefore, people just bought it early to get in on the hype. And now it's morphing into like, oh, look, I have something worth 2 million. But really, there's like 2 people that can do that. So it's really interesting. Some students even say that, oh, I wonder if this is just somebody that wants to increase their NFT project, so they spend a lot of money to hype it up. Kind of like faking the hype in itself. You see that in t-shirts too. Like, hey, you know, they want to, you know, they want to put their t-shirt in the store, but instead what they do is they tell their friends to buy it to hype it up, to make it interesting. I think this is that t-shirt hype element. A lot of these rich friends bought in so they can hype all these other projects up. That's it. Thank you for participating, guys. Take the after class survey link below, and we will see you next time. Peace.